Hi, I'm Brad Balliett.
I'm Elliot,
And we're writing a piece for Metropolis Ensemble for the Mata Festival. I've been a bassoonist with the Metropolis Ensemble for a couple years now, but this is the first piece of mine that Metropolis is playing, and it's a collaboration with my very good friend Elliot. We met in Texas when we were both students at Rice University, and we decided we wanted to do a project together, something unusual. And we kind of struck on this idea of hip-hop and its relation to new music. So we chopped up music by all our favorite composers, Burt Whistle, Fernihoe, Stravinsky, guys like this, and tried to make something totally new. And it was so much fun that we decided we really should give it another try again.
Yeah, after our first EP, Brad went off and spent a summer writing what has become the Rake that is going to be on this on Mata.
The story of the Rake's progress is a kind of typical Faust story where this guy, Tom Rakewell, the devil approaches him and says, "You've won a very large inheritance, you must come with me to the big city." And Tom, being kind of foolish and lazy and money hungry, goes off and has a wild year with this guy, Nick Shadow, who's really the devil. And he gets into a lot of kind of misadventures. He marries a bearded woman. He tries to make an invention that doesn't really work, and he loses all his money. And at the end of 1 year, the devil shows up to claim Tom's soul. And Tom plays cards for his soul with the devil in a graveyard and wins by playing the Queen of Hearts. He calls on the powers of true love, thinking of the girl he abandoned, Anna Truelove, and wins his soul back, but the devil says, "All right, but I'm taking your sanity as a consolation prize."
So at the end of Stravinsky's opera, Tom Rakewell wins back his soul in a game of cards, but has to surrender his sanity in exchange. And just before that moment of losing his sanity, we imagine that he has one burst of blinding clarity in which he can see for the first time objectively what he has done with his life, and he can really feel the pain of his rakishness cutting through. And so we zoom in on this moment and telescope it into a half-hour-long drama where he, talking to himself, recounts the events and goes through many stages of self-recrimination and self-defense and the most cutting reflection.
I think that Tom Rakewell is a kind of unusual protagonist for an opera. He's extremely human, he's got a lot of vices, and he's a character that I think a lot of people can relate to a little more than a romanticized hero of a romantic opera. So it's really a very cathartic experience in some ways to dive into the kind of experiences that I think we've all had at one point in our time, and sort of see it through Tom Rakewell's eyes and give him a chance to say the things that he doesn't really get to say to the audience in the opera. I think we both feel that hip-hop is an area of music that has infinite potential for development and has been an inspiration to us as well. I certainly drew a lot of inspiration both musically and for the text from artists like Aesop Rock, Sage Francis, The Roots. But one thing particularly appealing about that hip-hop sensibility of fast rhythmic speech for this project was we were really interested in Tom Rakewell's thoughts more than his outward actions. And thoughts go fast, faster than speech. So it kind of made sense for there to be this rapid-fire speech, fast secession, sort of giving us a glimpse into his inner world as he's going through this very erratic behavior across the course of his year.
Yeah, it really inverts the usual pace of opera time, which is usually this kind of telescoped, expansive sense of time, and ours is the rate of ideas is extraordinarily fast.
I'm here with my twin brother Doug, and we'll be splitting the part of Tom Rakewell in the performance with Metropolis Ensemble. It makes sense to use identical twins since it is one person split into two parts. It's not really a good Tom Rakewell versus an evil Tom Rakewell thing. It's more just like the voices in his head yammering back and forth. There aren't such clear lines drawn in his character. It's really more of a snapshot of the moment Tom Rakewell goes insane, stretched out over 25 minutes, and the kind of conversations he might have with himself in his head. And it's great to perform this together. You know, we've been performing together all our lives on our instruments, bass and bassoon, and we recently discovered that we're able to write these rhymes and perform them, and since then we've been exploring that. We kind of hope to get a sort of Lennon-McCartney vibe going between us, where we're each bringing our own creative material to the table, but we're really thinking about what the other person could do. For instance, Doug has his own opera coming up, a retelling of the story of Lucretia that he wrote a way for me to be involved in as well. And at the end of this summer, we'll be taking this project along with Elliot to Switzerland to perform some new pieces that we're just formulating right now. It'll be interesting to take this project international. We wanted to give you a little taste of what the rhyming sounds like split between us, and then you'll hear a little of the studio version of the song. How dreadful, how dark. It's the same in every story. We aim for one half opposites, imagining our glory. And each event becomes a state of private celebration. Some personal felicity while thoughts remain impatient. And now 366 you're here. Just as I figured. And now the voices grow in stature, ever growing bigger. What do you see for the world's demise? A moonless vista twist. And what do we get for this cosmic crime? A slap upon the wrist. My eyes cannot deceive me in a dream. So lucid, the light level is constant and the numbers flicker fluid. I confess that in a gloomy labyrinth, shadows are my quarry. What started off in furtive looks will not ignore the worry. And dusty roads that tell their tale in format serve and never question for a moment what these morals might determine. Now the darkness starts again. Give it space. Impatience is an agent of the verb deteriorate. The trouble is the sinning of the heart. Knees back loud, deeply through the layers as the folds dilate. How steeply one descends to set and reiterate. Energize the desire, the mind pulls down while the heart pulls higher. What a flow state configuration speak as